Happy New Year, everybody, and I hope you had an amazing start into the new year. I certainly did. I'm really excited for 24. I think it's going to be an amazing year, and we're going to continue where we left off with 23. On that note, actually, I want to go back 1 month to December and share with you, as I do every month, the earnings I had last month from all my dividends, interest, as well as cashback. And honestly, it was quite a surprising month for me in a good way. Probably the biggest months I had so far. So without further ado, let's get started. Right, so here we are in my interactive brokers portfolio. Actually, for that, I'm using GetQuinn, which is my tracking tool of choice, because in interactive brokers, it's a little bit confusing, the platform for many. So that's why I like to auto import my holdings from interactive brokers into GetQuinn, which is this platform over here. It's free to get started. If you want to sign up for the paid plan, use my link in the description below, helps out the channel a lot. And honestly, it's a really great platform because it really visualizes your portfolio so much better, and especially when it comes to dividends. So that's the first thing I want to start off with. But first off, a quick reflection on the last. You can see really nice returns, up 3,100 euros. So I'm really happy after many years of red. It's good to finally see some progression over there. So I'm really happy with this. But as I said, I want to go into my dividends. I'll do maybe another full portfolio deep dive in another video. But for now, let's focus on the dividends for the month of December. And for that, all you have to do, click over here into the respective year you want to look at, in this case 23, and then I can see all the various months that I got my dividends in. And obviously it started off quite little in the beginning, February, then March, and it went up nicely from there to all the way December, having the highest dividend income months for me since I started investing. Actually, finally, first time hitting over 100 euros. In fact, 109 euros in 1 month. So it's still obviously very little when you think about it. It's not something you can live from. But honestly, from where I came from, this is a really nice increase over time. It definitely is something, as I continue to invest and dollar cost average into my various holdings, that number will only go one way, and that is up. So really happy with this development over there. And then you can really go down by month and see what paid what. And obviously you can see all the various listings. Now, the biggest one position that I have in my entire portfolio is the S&P 500. I buy the VUSA ETF for that. These are the 500 biggest companies in the US. And honestly, you really can't go wrong. If you're just starting to invest, and honestly, that's probably your best choice. Go with the S&P 500, a low-cost ETF, and you're going to be good to go. Over the last 20, 30 years, they return on average 8 to 9%. So that's definitely a safe bet. Now, having said that, they have a very low dividend yield right now. It's 1.4, 1.5%. So it's not really much. Still, I got, what is this, 35 euros from them, because I have a big holding in it. But overall, that's paid to me on a quarterly basis is not that big. I have smaller positions in my portfolio that actually pay me a higher dividend in terms of monetary payout. But still really happy to have that. And obviously I continue to dollar cost average into them as well. Then I have another one of my favorite stocks, which is BlackRock. Still, while the dividend yield is rather low, let's just double check that, heading over to Seeking Alpha, which is my favorite stock research platform of choice. So if you go here into BlackRock, I can see a quick dividend summary. Right now, the dividend yield is 2.46%, so not that high. Usually I prefer stocks with a dividend yield over 3%, but that's fine. And that's for a reason, because they have a very strong 5-year growth rate of 10.72%. So meaning on average, every single year over the last 5 years, they have been growing the dividend by 10.72%. Now you have to ask yourself, are you getting a 10.7% salary increase year on year on year? Most likely not. In many cases, people don't. So that's really nice. Yes, while the yield is low, it keeps on growing consecutively every single year. And that has been doing so for the last 5 years, and actual dividend growth for the last 14 years. So I'm really bullish on the long-term future of BlackRock. Obviously, none of those stocks are stock recommendations. Do your own due diligence. These are just stocks that I invest in and feel comfortable with. Then I had Coca-Cola also. Again, a low dividend stocks. That's really one of the safe stocks in my portfolio that's just going to continue paying me a dividend. I don't see major growth in there and huge dividend yield, but it's just going to keep on paying me a nice dividend as I start building up bigger positions. I got 10 euros from them. BlackRock, I skipped that one here, 15 euros. So all in all, not too bad at all. Then Realty Income, which is actually my biggest individual holding stocks in my portfolio. It's a real estate investment trust. And the great thing about this, it's basically like you would invest into real estate, but that's difficult if you have little money to start with, right? To take a mortgage and so on, you need a lot of savings. In order to invest into real estate through a REIT, you don't need much money. You can get started from 10 euros and start owning a fraction of real estate from the company that invests into real estate, so to say. And the good thing is, with the REIT, they usually pay on a monthly basis. So basically every single month, Realty Income now pays me almost 18 euros. So that's really nice. And they have a really high yield right now. As you can see, the dividend yield right now, it's 5.36%. So I'm really happy with this. Now, the growth is a little bit less because obviously it's hard for them to keep on growing organically over time aggressively, but they have still been growing their dividends for the last 26 years. I mean, that's quite an achievement to do. So I'm really happy taking the high yield. For the last year, they've been down 10% because obviously the interest environment is so expensive. So that puts a strain on the expansion plans because in order to borrow money, it's more expensive, etc. So yeah, for me, I was happy to buy more stocks into the company so that my monthly payouts only gonna increase in the future as I own more shares in the company. Then we had LVMH, that was 4.5 euros, not too much. And actually, having said that, I recently sold out of LVMH. I just had my own thoughts about it. I know a lot of people like the company. I also did a whole video about it. And I still, in general, like the company. I just, for myself right now, think there's so many other companies I want to rather invest my money in. That's why I sold out of this position and instead invest into other companies with a high yield and a higher growth rate than LVMH. But still, I was happy to take the dividend there. But in the future, obviously, this won't happen anymore. But at the same time, I think I found better companies, for me at least, that pay a more regular and higher dividend. And lastly, we have another one of my biggest positions, and that is Pfizer. Now, Pfizer paid me in the month of December 25 euros. Now, when I look into Pfizer dividend, I mean, Pfizer itself has been really hit hard in the last year, down 43%. They have been on a high back in 2020, 21. And of course, we know the reasons why. Since then, they have been on a major decline in terms of pricing of the stock. For me, fundamentally, the company still has so much value. And for me, I'm a long-term investor and I'm really confident they're going to go up much higher. And in the meantime, I'm able to secure a lower entry price point so that when the price goes up, I can benefit from this. And at the same time, I'm going to get a very nice dividend yield of 5.84%, even higher than a REIT, which is usually not the case, right? REITs are paying a high dividend yield. In this case, Pfizer is actually paying a very high rate and at the same time has a higher growth rate than, for example, Realty Income at almost 5% for the last 5 years. And on top of it, they have been growing the dividends for the last 13 years. So I'm really confident on them long term. So yeah, this is the highest earnings I ever had in a month. Really excited about this. Just a sneak peek. If I go ahead to all time, you can see here what I'm going to be earning for the entire year of 2024 so far. And we're talking about above 1,000 euros. In fact, 1,085. So I'm really excited about this. And obviously that number will only go up as I continue to dollar cost average and buy new stocks every single week. So that number, hopefully, I don't know yet. I haven't projected where it'll be at the end of the year, but obviously significantly higher than what it is now. My goal, as I always say, to eventually arrive at a number in a couple of years from now to have a 6-figure annual dividend income. That would be my dream, and I'll make sure to work towards that. And if you want to follow the journey and watch me get there, then make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. All right, with this, let's move into my interest income for the month of December, starting off with Lightyear. And you can see my entire portfolio over here. Mostly, I keep the cash to get the interest in right now, because you can see I have a little bit of stocks, but majority of my stocks I do buy through interactive brokers. But I still have a bit of Apple stocks over here. But when I move over here to the bottom right, I can see the cash balance that I have and the interest I'm getting on. So of course, sadly, I don't have any pounds or dollars, or at least not much, where I'll be getting 4.5% interest right now. But majority of my holding is in the currency that I'm using to transact on a daily basis, which is euro. So you can see the amount over here, and that's where I'm getting 3.25% interest. Now, it's not the highest interest out there. I do have higher interest on Trade Republic and Revolut. I'll come to this in a second, but I still enjoy Lightyear, and that way I can max out my various fund protection limits, because you don't want to be holding too many funds in one account that's, let's say, only secured up to 20,000, but you happen to have 40,000 in there, because if God forbid something happens to it, you might be losing the 20k on top of the fund protection limit. So that's always important. With Lightyear, my funds are protected up to 20,000 euros. Yes, I have a little bit on top of it, but I still feel very comfortable with it. Eventually, I might add another account to move some of the spare cash above that limit to that new account. And you can see if I go back over there, last month I was paid 68 euros and 70 cents in interest income just by having my money there. And it's always so nice to see. And the nice thing is it's actually earned daily. So you can see the amount getting larger and larger. And on the first of every month, immediately they will send it into your account and it will be there. And then obviously next month you have already higher balance because interest will be calculated on a higher cash amount. So that's really, really nice. You can start seeing some compounding interest over there. And if you haven't tried Lightyear yet, then use my link in the description below with code KAI10 and you'll get $10 of free stock to get you started. Then next up, we move to Trade Republic. That's another great app that I'm using. You can see I have a little bit of investments, Microsoft and Apple, but once again, majority of the holdings is with interactive brokers. Then we move to cash. We have all my cash balance sitting over there. And there you go. For the month of December, I got 155 euros and 50 cents paid to me just in terms of interest. Now, obviously I have a higher cash holding over here, but still 4% is really a high number. One of the highest I think you can possibly get right now. It's paid up to 50,000 euros. So anything on top of 50,000 euros, you won't get any interest on it. And your entire funds with Trade Republic are protected up to 100,000 euros. So a real secure platform. They are from Germany. So definitely I feel very comfortable holding my money with them. And it's really, really nice. Once again, they pay you every first of the month. It goes straight into your account. And next month you will get the 4% interest on a higher amount. So it starts compounding as well. So really, really nice. And if you haven't signed up to them yet, then use my link in the description below to get a free stock to get you started. And then we come to the last app that I'm currently using for my interest income, and that is Revolut. So here I have two accounts in my savings plan. One is my US dollar holdings, where I'm currently getting 5.46% interest per year. So that's really nice and really attractive and one of the highest interests I've seen anywhere right now. And the great thing with any of those apps, there is no lockup, because a lot of the bank accounts that you usually have, your traditional bank accounts, they ask you to keep your money for at least a week, a month, a year even, to get a high interest rate. Here, I could withdraw at a moment's notice. If I need the money right now, I just withdraw it, I have it in my account and I can use it. So that's really cool. And obviously on dollars, generally there's slightly higher interest rate than on my euros. Why do I have dollars? Because usually I send the dollars from here into my interactive brokers account, because I mostly buy US stocks with US dollars. So I need dollars. So I exchange them when I see a good exchange rate. I log in a low exchange rate for my euros versus dollars, and then I just park them over here. But traditionally I just park them in my interactive brokers account where I don't really get any interest. Here I accrue interest, which I'm getting, and that's really nice. So you can see here for the month of December, I earned a total of almost $22 just by keeping my money there. Obviously the amount is a little bit less, but still 22 euros just for nothing, just for park my money over there. So that's really nice, and I'll definitely continue doing this. Then we move to my Euro savings account with Revolut, and here I currently get 3.91% interest per year. Now, having said that, by the way, obviously it depends on the plan you're on. As I understand, the lower your plan, the lower the interest will be also. Currently, I'm on the highest plan, which is the Revolut Ultra plan. I made a few videos about it, why I like it, and one of the benefits, obviously, is the higher interest rates that I'm getting, right? So even 3.91% is fairly close to Trade Republic of 4% and obviously higher than what I'm getting with Lightyear right now. So that's the amount I'm having. And in the month of December, I was paid a total of 58 euros in interest just for keeping my money on Revolut. So really, really nice. I'm very happy with this. And the cool thing is you can see here every single day, it's actually being paid to me. So every day you can see right now I'm getting close to 2 euros just for parking my money there. Right now you can see the funds are currently protected up to 22,000 euros. So actually I could transfer some of my Lightyear money into Revolut to balance it off at a slightly higher interest. Actually talking about it, I will probably do it right after this video. Now, in addition to this, I also used to use Trading 212 in the past, which is a great app to buy stocks and ETFs completely commission free. And if you haven't used them yet, then you can use my link in the description below to get a little starter bonus. But currently, they only pay 1.6% interest, which is really very little. However, recently they came out with the news that very soon, exactly from the 11th of January, they will be introducing higher interest rates on your cash. So you can see right now, you will be getting 3.15%. So a little bit less than Lightyear, but still, obviously, you have, once again, a higher protection level. So if I still have excess cash over there, some of the cash that I have in my traditional bank account, where I get a big fat zero for it, I might definitely be looking to move them into Trading 212, but I'll make a separate video on this once this goes live. Right, with this we come to the last part, and that's the cashback that I got in the month of December. So for that, once again, we go back to Revolut, because that's the Revolut card that I'm using for everything, and I use my Revolut Ultra plan with the Revolut Pro card. That's supposed to be for business transactions, but honestly, I've been using it for pretty much everything so far, and touch wood, nothing happened, everything went through, and honestly, 1.2% cashback is really not too shabby, especially in Europe, where we traditionally don't really get much cashback, and there's no limit to it. So if you get 100 euros worth of cashback or 200, there's no limit, and that's really, really amazing, because a lot of card providers, they have a monthly limit, let's say as much as the card costs you in a month, and here with the Pro card, there is no monthly limit, so it's really good. So the more you spend, the more you get cashback, obviously. So you can see my total cashback earned to date, over 526 euros, so that's really nice. but I want to see for last month. Let's click into this, and I can see here last month, in the month of December, I made 44 euros and 50 cents with cashback. I mean, that's just money that would have gone to waste if I wouldn't have used with my Revolut card. Obviously, it's a double-edged sword. It means the more you spend, the more you get cashback. But at the same time, some people use their card also for business expenses, right? If they run ads for the company or they go for business travel or what have you. So why not take advantage of it and get something in return? And in fact, for the last 3-4 months, this cashback alone has been paying for my Revolut Ultra plan, which currently costs me around 45 euros a month. So anything on top, such as the free airport lounge access, access to Financial Times, and NordVPN access, all comes free of charge basically, just by using the card and getting the sweet cashback. And there you have it. On that note, I also updated my monthly budget review and net worth tracker template that you can access and use free of charge. You will find it in the description below. And basically, this is what I do every single month at the end of the month to track all my various incomes that I got, various spendings that I have by month, so I can see my saving rate, as well as track my net worth. So how much money I have in my various banks, my various investments, as well as any real estate and any other assets. Maybe you have an expensive watch or some painting, what have you. And overall, that will basically track your net worth over time, because I really believe if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So you need to see how that number performs over time. And even if you start very little, it doesn't matter, but you want to see the progress over time. And if you don't track it, it's hard to see the progress. Now, when I go back to my year, it's really nice to see that number growing month after month after month. So hopefully this sheet for you will be useful. And once again, it's available free for you to use it. Just use the link in the description below. I hope you found the video useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I get back to every single one of you. Next up, check out this video over here. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.